We get to that. My name is Kyle Belanger, and I am the lucky dude that gets to host the 60 Days of Summer. I'm a sports broadcasting professor up at Springfield College, where the game was, maybe you've heard of it, maybe it's invented. Anyhow, let me tell you about the format today, because you don't care about me. For the next 25 minutes, I get to hog all the fun. I'm the one, me, Steven Jackson, one-on-one. Not that kind of one-on-one, but the kind that I can survive. After that, it's your turn. I will ask a handful of you if you'd like to ask Steven Jackson a question, so you'll get that opportunity. Following that, the fun keeps rolling. Mr. Jackson's gonna head over to the table on my right, your left, and sign an autograph for each and every one of you. It's all part of the 60 Days of Summer, which are 60 consecutive days of family-friendly entertainment right here at the Basketball Hall of Fame. Those include appearances by Hall of Famers. Those include very entertaining exhibitions, dribbling exhibitions, clinics from the UMass basketball team. Go to hoophall.com and check out the schedule. We're busy this week. Romeo Langford, Glenn Davis, we've got Robert Parrish. But today, an NBA champion with a 2003 Spurs. His 14 years in the NBA include stops with the Nets, Spurs, Hawks, Pacers, Warriors, Bobcats, Bucks, and Clippers. He's a second-round pick by the Suns in '97, a McDonald's All-American at Oak Hill Academy. He's a Texas State champion with Lincoln High School in Port Arthur. And he's been called the ultimate teammate by some guy named Tim Duncan. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for my new friend, Steven Jackson.
You're the best. Here you go, brother.
Thanks. How's everybody doing? I'm glad to be here. Y'all glad to be here? I'm excited. This is my first time. I'm excited.
So let's talk about that, Steven. Let's start with your first time. Your first time here. This is how I usually finish. But here we are underneath all of the eyes of so many who you played with so many who laid the foundation for the game that you have absolutely changed. Talk to me about this moment, looking out at these people, looking up at these faces. What is this like for a man who's accomplished so much?
Seeing a lot of these faces, it kind of makes me emotional because a lot of people up here are the reason that my motivation to play basketball. You know, Scottie Pippen, somebody I looked up to. I patterned my game after Hakeem Olajuwon. Growing up in Texas, I seen him and him bring those 2 championships to the Texas area. It's just a lot of guys up here that motivated me and gave me the confidence to be an NBA player. So this is a special moment for me.
Steven, I want to go all the way back to the Gulf Coast, to Port Arthur, Texas, where your upbringing is about as textbook blue collar as it comes, right? You're working in your uncle's restaurant. Mm-hmm. You're going to school, helping the family. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about the moment that it becomes obvious that basketball might also avail itself as an opportunity for you.
I think my family had a big basketball background, but I think I really believed it when I was 5 years old. I was playing at a YMCA league, and the final score of the game was 42-40. And I had 40 of my team's 42 points. And I was 5 years old at the time. That was kind of a sign to my uncles and as a 5-year-old kid, you're just having fun. You're not really thinking about the NBA at the time. Yeah. But my family and everybody knew, like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
40 points, 5 years old, he might have it. And I think at that time they knew more than I did.
It's incredible. And so things get rolling. You have the incredible support not only of your family, but your community. Mm-hmm. And for anyone who's spent any time in Texas, they know how Texas high school sports, that's a lifestyle. Huge, right? The Port Arthur, Houston, DFW areas.
Yes.
It's all about bragging rights.
Yeah, especially in football.
Especially in football. Especially in football.
Yes.
A lot of guys your age sort of did double duty. Were you at all entertained by the idea of playing?
I got a funny story for y'all. So I thought I was Jerry Rice in middle school, which I was. I was taller than everybody. I was pretty good at football. But my freshman year in high school, football season is always before basketball season. So football tryouts, I got the new tape, the new cleats, everything. I'm out there running routes, practice is about to start, and I look from the back, and I see two people walking towards the football field, and they kind of look familiar. One is my mom, and the other is my uncle. So as I'm running out catching passes, I see both of them come back, and here comes my basketball coach. You might not get it now, Steve, but we don't want you to get hurt. You have a chance to make the NBA. They pulled me off the field my 9th grade year. I wasn't able to play, but I thank them now. I was hot at that time.
Yeah.
Trust me, I wanted to play football, but it was a great decision by my coach and my parents.
That is an incredible story because of how differently things could have gone, right? We're
Totally different.
We're not talking about 2019 where the understanding of all of the risks, I'll say,
Right.
of playing football
Right,
are
this is
known.
96.
Yeah.
96.
Where we were rubbing dirt on it and getting
Yes.
back out there.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get back to that high school experience because your McDonald's All-American class
Oh, man.
is one of the most special in the history of a very storied program. I'm gonna look at my cheat sheet here because the names are Kobe and Duncan and Jermaine O'Neal and Tim Thomas and Steven Jackson. So from that All-American experience, I remember you started at in Port Arthur. You end up transferring to Oak Hill Academy, the legendary Oak Hill Academy,
Yes.
where you become an All-American or are recognized as the All-American who you are.
Right.
How does an 18-year-old Steven Jackson slow the world down so that in those moments you're not just getting caught up in sort of the hype of you?
Right. Well, that's a good question, and I hope a lot of kids are listening. I learned by making mistakes.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. Experience is the best teacher. I had a lot of ups and downs. You know, when I actually going to Oak Hill my senior year, going to my junior year, I wasn't recognized at all. I went to Oak Hill my senior year thanks to Steve Smith, the great coach Steve Smith, and I was able to make a McDonald's All-American team with Mike Bibby, Kobe Bryant, Jermaine O'Neal, Tim Thomas, Richard Hamilton, and I led that game in scoring. I had the most points in that game and didn't win MVP. And that was a learning experience. So just imagine playing in games with an All-American game with all those stars. You have the best game, but you're still not good enough or have the bigger name to win MVP. That would destroy a teenager, and it destroyed me.
Yeah.
But I had a strong family. I believed in myself, and I said, making mistakes and those type of situations will make you stronger. Experience is the best teacher.
Stephen, it's amazing. I was telling my children earlier a little bit about your story because of how you're constantly running through hurdles. You don't shy away from them. And so you have this incredible experience in the McDonald's All-American game. You're drafted by the Suns. And still from 97 to 2000, you accept the challenge and the opportunity to not only play in the CBA, but also in Australia, the Dominican Republic, and Venezuela, all the while sharpening the player that the world is about to know. But you have to, at that point, be wondering when things are going to get easy for you, right?
Well, yes, I mean, like you said, I went to Venezuela. I'll tell you another story. I went to Venezuela when I was 19 years old. I didn't know how to speak a lick of Spanish. Every time I had to order food there, I had to walk behind the counter and point at what I wanted to eat. But it was an experience for me because just think I'm 18 years old in another country by myself. My first day there, they picked me up from the airport, and I'm on my way to practice. And as I'm on my way to practice, you know, this country is not a rich country. And as I'm going to practice, it's like 4 or 5 cars that stopped in front of me, you know, under a bridge. As we get closer to the bridge, I've only been there probably like an hour and a half on my way to practice. A 14-year-old kid that just jumped off a bridge.
Oh, my God.
So as I'm passing, going to practice, I see the kid's body laying there, and I'm thinking to myself, like,
wow.
is this worth it?
Wow.
Like, am I in the right place?
Wow.
Like, it was a culture shock, but at the same time, seeing the way they were living there and how they were struggling, I knew I was in a great position.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have it that bad, so that was a learning experience for me. You know, you might think you have it bad, but there's always someone that has it worse than you, so I always appreciate what you have, and I appreciated being able to play basketball and had that opportunity, having the opportunity to go and play in Venezuela, and I took advantage of it.
Absolutely. Now, you talk about having the opportunity, and by the time 2000 rolls around, and you get your chance to walk into an NBA locker room with the New Jersey Nets, not the Brooklyn Nets, the New Jersey Nets. That's important. And you get into that locker room with guys like Kenyon Martin, Steph Marbury, Byron Scott. Because you'd seen some things, you just told us an incredibly stark story. Because you'd seen some things, how was your experience different maybe than other. You weren't a rookie, but you were considered a rookie. How was your experience that night? Maybe different than the guys who were just walking out of college into doing it.
Yeah, I had a lot to prove still. Yeah, I might have turned it off.
That's okay.
I had a lot to prove still. You know, being drafted and being cut. They brought me into this situation to try out for the team last minute.
Did they?
Like 2 weeks before they did like 2 weeks before camp started, they invited me to camp.
Really?
And I had no idea I was going to make the team. I mean, you know, when you go into a situation like that, when you trying out and they give you those red penny jerseys that's not matching the uniform, you know you trying out. Okay, you're not on the team yet. And I wore that jersey for about a week, but you know. Growing up, I had lost my older brother, and he was a basketball player, so that was my motivation. And I always said I wanted to make it for him. So when I got that close to actually try out for an NBA team, I wasn't taking no for an answer. I did everything right. I made sure I put in the work, and you know, at the end of the day, what God has for you, He has for you. Can't nobody take it from you.
And as with everything that Steven Jackson does, As with everything that Steven Jackson does, it then rolls into a bigger opportunity. 2002, 2003, you sign with the San Antonio Spurs. The chance to go home, really, and play in Texas. And everyone remembers that team as the one that wins 60 games in the regular season, beats the New Jersey Nets in the NBA Finals. And you are the third leading scorer on that team. Give me a sense of the way that series helped to, in your mind, instill who you were as a player. Because the rest of us, we could see it. We could see the guy who was comfortable on the court, and you had been comfortable all along.
I think, well, first it started off with Greg Popovich coming to me and giving me the confidence, giving me the opportunity. They had won a championship in '99 already, and the team was already put together. I think when we was in Seattle, it's a story that I've never told. We're in Seattle, and I'm on the team, but I'm not playing much. I'm playing well off the bench. I'm averaging like 13 points off the bench, and we're in Seattle. And Pop and Tim Duncan called me to their room midday before the game. I go to the room, and Tim's in there, and I'm like, did I do something? I'm automatically thinking I'm doing something wrong. Y'all did something wrong. It's like you're getting called to the principal's office. So I go in there, and Tim and Pop in there, and they're like, we're going to start you tonight. And I was just speechless. And the whole time I was worried about how was Stephen Smith feel, because Steve Smith was starting before me, and he was the guy that I looked up to. You know, he really taught me a lot. And the whole situation was crazy. So I was fine with it. So I go back to my room, and I'm still worried about how I'm going to tell Steve Smith, somebody who's been teaching me and like a role model to me, that I'm starting ahead of you tonight. Well, this was a great thing about the Spurs. Not only did Tim Duncan believe in me, one of the best power forwards of all time, but when I got in the locker room, before I can even say anything to Steve Smith, he stopped me and said, Jack, this is not personal between me and you. Go out there and have your best game. I'm happy for you. That moment, I mean, I remember the moment, I guess I instantly started crying, because in that game, it's a lot of competition. You know, everybody's fighting for a job, but to have a guy like that, a vet who's proven, to give me that confidence and to tell me to go out there and do my job when we're competing for the same spot, it meant the world to me. And that's why I was able to play well, because I didn't have to look over my shoulder, I didn't have to worry about my teammates talking about me. I had the support of Tim Duncan. I had the support of David Robinson and Steve Kerr. So it was easy for me to go out there and play because I was hungry and I had the support of the greats.
When I think about a moment like that, and I think about you as a young player being told that it's okay, it's not personal, by a teammate, and you have the ability in your career to play with some incredible franchises, with some incredible young talent yourself by the time you get to be a veteran, does that moment right there help you when it's your turn to be the veteran presence for a young guy? Did you then maybe turn that into later on because of what Steve did for you?
It definitely transfers over. I wouldn't be a 14-year vet, an NBA champion, if it wasn't for Greg Popovich and the Spurs organization and Tim Duncan. They taught me how to be a professional. I came in the game as a kid, so I was just thinking playing the game and making money. They taught me how to be a professional. They taught me how to prepare for games. They told me how to be a great teammate. All those things I learned in San Antonio. I don't think I would have learned anywhere else, and that was the best part of my career. I was able to start there and get a foundation, get be smarter about the game and learn how to be a professional in the game before my career went on. I learned that early, and I owe all that to Papa Tim Duncan. I wouldn't be the player I am today.
I look at your resume, and it is unbelievable. 14 years in the NBA, the chance to play in some of the world's coolest basketball markets.
Yeah, no question.
Right? Golden State, Indiana, Charlotte, Milwaukee, Los Angeles. Any stops along the way? Did you wish any of those cities lasted just a little bit longer?
I wish I could have finished my whole career in Golden State.
Yeah.
Well, we were the first team to beat a #1 seed in the 7-game series with the We Believe time. And that was the first, Don Nelson is the winningest coach of all time. That's the first coach that asked me to be a captain, that believed in me to be a captain. And some of my best playing years were in Golden State. I have my own day in the Bay Area, which I don't have nowhere else. So that city is just special to me. And if I could play my whole career, they always tell me I act like I'm from Oakland. I talk like I'm from Oakland. So if I could, Oakland would be the city I play my whole career in.
It's a great city for sure.
Love it.
Here's the part I was telling you about. If you have any questions for Steven Jackson, I'm going to ask for volunteers in a moment, so be thinking about what I have forgotten. I only have 3 questions left for Mr. Jackson, so if you got anything that you want to ask, now's the time to start formulating how you're going to ask it. It's funny because your entire career, Steven, you are drawing praise from guys like Bird and Duncan and Don Nelson, and they are not... It's not light praise, right? I mean, Tim Duncan says, Steven Jackson's the ultimate teammate. Larry Bird's complimenting your hustle. People are going to bat for you. With all of your accomplishments, can you put into perspective how that stuff maybe is as important to know that you have the respect to the dudes you go to battle with every night?
That means everything. I mean, if anybody know anything about my career, I should have made at least 5 or 6 All-Star games. But I was in an incident where I was loyal to my friend, and I went in the stands, and one thing happened to the other in Detroit. But I never take it back because I take pride in being a great teammate, and I really don't regret anything because that's the way I played the game, and it's all come from a great place. It's never came from a place of demeaning anybody. I've always came from a place of I love the game and I'm giving 110%. And if I go anywhere with anybody in here and we together, trust me, I'm gonna have your back. And that's just the way I've always been. So I have the applause and appreciation and the respect from all those guys that you named, like Donnie Walsh and those type of guys. I can live with that. I can live with that because I know I gave everything to the game. I played it the right way and I did right by my teammates. I can live with that.
Steven, that really puts it in an incredible perspective. Like everything you just said. Thank you for that. Do you have a question for Steven Jackson? Put your hands in the air, and we will. One of my great Hoop Hall friends will pick a select few of you and put you in line to our right, your left. Now, after the NBA, you play in one of my favorite leagues in the world. I love Big 3 basketball. You're playing, you and Chauncey playing for Charles Oakley.
Yep.
I can think of no cooler sentence. You and Chauncey Billups playing for Charles Oakley.
Right.
Can you tell us, players love this league.
Yes.
Fans love this league. What is it, with the exception of the 3v3 format, which is awesome, what is it about this league that has just taken people by storm?
We have so many guys that's not in the NBA that still love to play the game.
Yeah.
That we get an opportunity to play on a high level again, compete on a high level, and play in the NBA arenas again. I think it just gives us the chance to compete again. A lot of guys have built relationships over the years in the NBA. This is another chance for us to get together on weekends, break bread together, and build that camaraderie again. So it's just great. We thank Ice Cube for this league because, like I said, a lot of guys that really love the game that still play. This is an opportunity for us to do it again.
Steven, guys who you and I watched are in that league. Mahmoud is dropping.
Yes, dropping threes.
Dropping threes.
Yes, he is. Looks good too, real good.
He really does.
Yes.
Your dedication to community, and this is how I'll finish. Your dedication to community is it's really inspiring. As someone who, as mentioned, I teach at Springfield College where we have service to humanity in our mission statement. It's something that you live as well. Specifically, I think, to kids. I mean, you've built gyms. Can you talk to me about how that has never felt from the outside like you're forcing it? It feels like just a natural part of who Steven Jackson is.
Yeah, I think I got to credit that a lot to my mom. I've always I've always had a big heart, and I've always put other people before me. I'm like that to this day. I built a gym in my hometown, a basketball academy, because I had to go way to the mouth of Whistle, Virginia, to be noticed or to be recognized as a basketball player, because I'm from a small hometown. Well, I wanted to give the kids coming up an opportunity where they can get that same recognition in my hometown. I also do a give back where I feed 800 homeless families for Thanksgiving every year.
Steven.
I partnered with Shaq 2 years ago, and we did it, but I do that every year. And I also, the last couple of years, we have bad hurricanes where I'm from. I've also used my gym as a storage for people who's lost everything, and we try to get people back on their feet and help them get their lives back together. So I don't like applause for it, because this is what we're supposed to do. If you're not here supporting somebody, if you're not here making somebody better, then why are you on this earth? And that's how I look at it. You should be here spreading love, and that's what I'm all to do.
It's a reason why this is the best game on the planet, isn't there?
This is definitely a reason why.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Steven Jackson.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Now, I didn't warn you, Steven, but the hard questions are coming right now.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
So we got some fastballs here from the wings. For those of you asking questions, I'm going to ask two things. One, you let me hold the mic.
Don't leave him hanging.
And the other, oh yeah, don't leave him hanging. And that was great connection there, too. And the other is you introduce yourself to Mr. Jackson. Tell him your name and where you're from, all right?
My name is Brody, and I'm from Dover, Delaware.
What's your question, bro?
And my question is, who was your favorite teammate?
First of all, how dope is his name? Brody. I love that name. I love that name. My favorite teammate? I would say I have two. Tim Duncan, of course, but Baron Davis. Baron Davis, we played together in Golden State. We did some great things together, and we've been friends since 13. So just imagine you growing up with a kid and able to play in the NBA with him. It was a special experience. So Baron Davis is definitely one of my favorite teammates.
Thank you, Brody.
Thank you, Brody.
How are you? It's good to see you, Katie.
Hi, Katie.
High five.
I'm Katie Holmes, and I'm from Springfield, Mass. And I was wondering, with your legacy, what impact do you think you left on the game for the younger players?
You know, I think when kids go back and watch me or watch me now, I give 110% every night. Like right now, I'm playing in a Big 3 league with a torn patella. 41 years old. I have no reason to be doing that, but I love the game. I have sons, so I want them to play the game and approach it the right way. One thing about it, if you take care of the game and treat the game the right way, it will take care of you in the long run, and that's why I always play it that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Torn patella, still playing. Man. I'd lay on my shoulder wrong. I call in sick.
I really love this.
My name is Ashley, and I'm from the Bronx, New York.
Boogie down.
Yeah. And my question is, were you able to maintain a social life while still focusing on your career? And if so, how difficult was it?
Well, I've always marched to the beat of my own drum. So I actually was putting out rap mixtapes while I was playing basketball, my whole career. So you have to have a fine balance. Obviously, basketball is your job, so it's first, but you have to have a life too. So you got to find that balance, but it's definitely a way to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, that's a great question.
That was a good question. That was a real good question.
Hey, buddy.
My name's Luke, and I'm from Albany, New York.
Luke.
And my question is, what's your favorite or best offensive moment?
Oh, good question. By far, Game 6, NBA Finals. We went on a 19-0 run, and I hit 3 big threes to start that 19-0 run to win the NBA championship. So that's probably the highlight of my career.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Luke. Can you still see that in your head, too? Like the moment slows down?
The answer was.
Yeah.
Quick answer. I don't think twice about that one.
My name is Adrian Morrell from the Bronx, New York, and my question is, how does it feel to win the NBA championship?
You know, it's the ultimate feeling. Just imagine everything you work for your whole life. You know, to be able to play a game as a kid, not knowing where your life is going, and playing the game, and to say you're the best in the world, it's the best feeling in the world. I mean, I've never dreamed of growing up and being able to say I'm one of the best basketball players in the world. I was able to say that in 2003. It's the best feeling ever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. All right, big guy.
Nice shoes.
Those are sweet kicks.
My name's Quinn, and
Quentin? Nice to meet you, Quentin.
I'm from.
What question do you have for him? Oh, from Berlin, Connecticut. From Berlin, Connecticut.
How did you get into the NBA?
Okay, well, how did I get into the NBA? Once I graduated high school, I had no plans on going to college, so I ended up getting drafted by the Phoenix Suns. I was the second to the last pick in the draft, and the 42nd pick. And this is how I got drafted. This is a cool story that nobody knows. So I was supposed to go to the University of Arizona. I didn't get the test scores. Mike Bibby's mom, Mike Bibby, point guard, his mom did not want to let me go back to my hometown because at the time, it wasn't nothing positive for me to go back and do. So Mike Bibby's mom kept me with her in Arizona. One day she woke me up and brought me to the Phoenix Suns arena just to play pickup with the team that was there. I go and play pickup. I'm 18 years old. I go and play pickup and destroy the whole team. At the end, Jason Kidd and Steve Nash had picked me at that time. After the practice, Danny Ainge was the president at the time. He came down and told me, we have one pick in the draft, and we're going to draft you with it. That's how I got in the NBA. True story.
Thank you.
Thanks to Mike Bibby's mom.
Hey, Quentin, you just asked the best question. This is the best question all day. That was the Cedric Ceballos pickup game, the legendary.
Thanks to Cedric Ceballos, I was destroying him, and he helped me make the team, yes.
Hi, how are you?
Good. My name is Amaya Morris.
Amaya.
And
Your name's Amaya? My godchild's name is Amaya. Beautiful name.
My name is Amaya Morris, and I'm from the Bronx, New York. And my question is, how long you been in the NBA?
Okay, I played in the NBA 14 years. I've been playing basketball since I was 4.5. Tell you another cool story. I broke both of my feet before I made it to the NBA. I was born with stress fractures, and the doctors, I guess the doctor's genius, he told my mom around 18 to 19 I'll break both of my feet. Well, after I got drafted by Phoenix Suns, I broke both of my feet before I went overseas. So I've been playing basketball my whole life, but to answer your question, 14 years in the NBA. I never thought I'd make it that long.
Amaya, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amaya.
Ladies and gentlemen, how cool is Steven Jackson? Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, now the fun keeps moving. Mr. Jackson is heading to the table. My right, your left. Your job is to get yourself...